Hi, I'm Dinesh. In the last 10 years, I have never actually put on any weight. I was floating consistently between 60 to 65 kilos. Yeah, I'm a tiny person. Most people think that the reason why I'm so steadily skinny is because of my exercise regime. But that is not the case. I don't exercise that much. So, how come I'm still maintaining that weight? It boils down to what I'm eating. Exercise is not the tool to reduce weight. It is a tool to make your body stronger, grow your body, build your body. It is a tool for better mental health and stronger bones, long-lasting physique. Regulating food is the tool for weight loss and maintaining a consistent weight. In this video, I'm going to share the science-based secret sauce. If you follow this secret recipe, you will definitely not put on any weight. In fact, you're going to reduce weight. Let me clarify something. When I say regulating your food, it's not just eating less food. It is slightly complicated than that because you want to reduce weight in a healthy way. You don't want to reduce weight and be unhealthy or not feel energetic. You want to feel energetic, you want to feel motivated, and at the same time, you want to be losing weight. And if possible, you want to be building muscle. How do I know this works? Well, I have an engineering and master's in biotechnology, and I have worked in pharmaceutical industry for more than 10 years. With that said, let's get into it.
Welcome to Success Science, where we unlock the secrets to achieving your full potential and living a life of health, wealth, and success.
Okay, I'm going to cover two main things. One, what are the nutrients that are in our food, and what is the purpose of each of those nutrients, and how much of each of those nutrients should we consume. Number two, I will talk a little bit about calories and how to count calories because they are interdependent. If you optimize or regulate your food plate and then balance it out with the amount of calories you're consuming, there you go. That's the secret recipe. With exercise, you cannot burn all those extra calories that come through excess eating. You just need to understand it once and it sticks with you all your life. Okay, let's start off with the food. The food we eat typically has carbs, proteins, fats, minerals, and vitamins. As soon as you eat carbs, they get broken down into glucose and they're floating around in the blood to get supplied to 2 to 3 trillion cells in our body. Anything beyond that these cells need is stored in the liver and in your muscles. The reason why it is floating around in your blood, liver, or in your muscles is to give you instant energy. Let's say you're going for a walk. All cells in your body will draw glucose from your blood, and then the mitochondria in these cells will break down that glucose to produce energy, so you have energy to perform that activity. And that is the primary purpose of dietary carbohydrates. In fact, that is the only purpose of dietary carbohydrates. As soon as you eat carbs, your blood insulin goes up, which goes to all the cells and knocks at their doors, asking them to suck up some glucose. And if the cells are full, they're just going to shut the doors, and excess is stored as fat. If you continue to eat too much carbs, eventually you'll end up being insulin resistant, you will have a fatty liver, you'll get diabetes, blood pressure, and stroke. Okay, let's talk about protein. Protein is very important. It is not just for muscle mass though. You want to remember that every enzyme and a majority of hormones in our body are all proteins. There are about 20,000 different types of proteins, and imagine all of these spread across 2 to 3 trillion cells, how much protein is needed to actually run your body. Now, in order for us to do even a single action, let's say I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, or I'm moving my hand, I'm moving my head, there are millions of cells contributing to this motion to occur. And to facilitate that, each cell will kick off a series of biochemical reactions. Now, in all those biochemical reactions, there are multiple steps involved. It is complicated. If you love science, biochemistry is so much fun. It's so hard to remember everything. Now, for each of that step, an enzyme is needed, and that enzyme is a protein. See, now you know the importance of protein in our day-to-day life. So, in order for you to do anything in your life, you need protein. Protein is very important for your overall performance, to run, to do anything in your life. Even if you're seeing something, you're smelling something, for any activity, your body needs protein. So your cells are pulling these units of protein from your blood and keeps using them up. On top of that, any excess protein that you have, your body is going to use that to build muscle. Again, there are two layers to this. One is build muscle when you actually work that muscle out. Body will make your muscle stronger for next time, provided there is sufficient amount of protein coming in though. But if you don't have sufficient amount of protein, or you haven't worked out, your body is going to deplete that existing muscle mass and repurpose that protein for other biochemical processes. That's why if you're sedentary or if you're not eating sufficient protein, you will lose muscle mass. What happens if you deplete your muscle mass? You will become weak, frail, fragile. As you get old, you won't have much stability in your walking or your activity. You struggle with joint pains, etc. Essentially, living alone becomes a hell. Alright, now let's talk about fat. Let's break it down to two different groups. One is dietary fat and the other is stored body fat. Body uses fat to store excess energy for future use. On top of that, every cell in your body, the cell wall is made up of fat. All the 2 to 3 trillion cells in your body are recycled to new ones every 1 or 2 years. So, what does body do when it wants to build? It uses dietary fat that's coming in, and then anything excess, it's going to store it as body fat. So, bottom line is, at any given point in time, be it carbs, fat, or protein, if your body sees that this is excess energy and not required to repair or build or run, your body is simply going to store it as body fat. One other thing in food that is essential for us is minerals and vitamins. They are essential for the performance of your body's day-to-day activities. They form part of all the biochemistry that's happening in your body. You must eat sufficient amount of minerals and vitamins in order to perform optimally. Also, one last but the most critical layer on top of all this is fiber. Now, what does fiber do? Fiber feeds the gut bacteria, and your gut bacteria produces more minerals and vitamins, helps you digest your protein. Furthermore, good bacteria produces certain hormones such as serotonin, the happy hormone. Overall, they play a critical role in your physical and mental health. Alright, now that is all what is on your plate. The next big question is how much to eat. How much of all of these together to eat is dependent on the amount of calories that you're supposed to eat. Okay. How do you know how much calories to eat? That's very simple. You go into this website, BMR calculator, enter your age, gender, height and weight. Bingo! You will get your basal metabolic rate, which is basic amount of calories your body needs to just live life. Usually, this is where your heart rate is at the lowest. That is when I'm seated, when I'm asleep, somewhere between 50 to 80 beats per minute in my case. On top of that, there are two more layers. One is non-exercise calories, which is when I'm just walking around the house, making myself a coffee, moving my hands, thinking too deeply, playing a musical instrument, or doing my laundry, etc. This is where my heart rate is slightly elevated, somewhere between 85 to 95 beats per minute. The second layer is exercise calories, which means if you went for a brisk walk, or you went for a run, or you went for a swim, or to the gym, etc., that is when your heart rate goes way above 100 beats per minute. Now, all of this will combine to total daily energy expenditure. That is the amount of calories you will need in any given day. But it's difficult to accurately measure on day-to-day basis what our total daily energy expenditure will be, unless you have a smartwatch like me, which gives you an approximate total daily energy expenditure based on your heart rate. I tend to check this every day and eat that much worth of calories minus 200 to maintain a deficit, so that I keep chipping away at that stored body fat on a day-to-day basis. Now, that is one way of doing it. If you don't have a smartwatch, you just go with the estimates here in the BMI calculator website. When you go with the estimate, look at yourself in the mirror and adjust your deficits accordingly. Alright, now you know how much calories you're supposed to eat. Then you ask yourself one question: what are my activity levels? Am I a highly active person, or I am not an active person at all? Or today I don't have an active day, I'm working from home, or tomorrow I'll have an active day, I'll go to the field for work, or I'm going to go to the gym or swimming, etc. Depending on this question, you got to optimize your carbs. Yes, the primary purpose of carbs is to give you instant energy. Protein, fiber, non-negotiable. You've got to eat high protein, you've got to eat optimal amount of fat all through, 25% of your total calorie intake depending on your activity levels. Fiber is absolutely non-negotiable. You must eat at least 30 to 40 grams of fiber. Minerals and vitamins are non-negotiable too. You're supposed to eat them. Now, carbs is the only thing you need to worry about, because there is limited storage in your blood, liver, muscles and your cells. If you are going to exceed that limited storage, then your body is simply going to convert it into body fat and store it. And it is going to use that body fat back only when you are starving. So it's very important that you optimize your carbs in order to reduce weight. This is where, for example, keto diet comes into play, where people just don't eat any of those refined or starchy carbs. They eat a little bit of fruit and a little bit of vegetables and predominantly high protein meat based diets. That is one way to get rid of fat. But do we really need carbs? For me personally, I think yes. Every cell relies on carbs for energy source. And who doesn't want to eat carbs? They're so delicious. But we have to make conscious daily decision to eat only an optimal amount of carbs that are needed for our level of activity on any given particular day. If you eat more than that, then you're going to store. And once you start storing, you get all the nasties like plaque, blockages in your arteries, heart attack, whatnot. Now you know the total amount of calories you need for that day and how much you must eat. So if you're having 30 to 40 grams of fiber, 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilo of your body weight, about 10 to 20% of fat. The rest you can top up with carbs. If you're having a low activity day, just keep your carbs to the lowest. If you're having a high activity day, increase the amount of carbs you're eating for enhanced performance in your beloved sport. Choose fruit and vegetables over starchy and refined carbs. Don't eat sugars. Timing of carbs also matters. If I'm going swimming in the next 2 hours, then I eat a banana or an apple or have some vegetable salad to give me burst of energy to boost my performance. Or I may just train fasted if I'm looking for a more relaxed performance. You just need to understand what you need and consciously use carbs to avoid putting on weight. Okay, this is all well and good. Now, how do I measure how much calories I'm eating? This is quite easy too. Now there are two ways to do this. One is a cheap ass way. The other is to spend some money on a paid app. I use MyFitnessPal. A stitch in time saves nine. If you're avoiding this expense now, if you already have belly fat, you will end up spending at the doctor's later. So choice is yours. I have done a detailed video on how to use MyFitnessPal, how to count calories. However, I'll briefly touch that topic here. When you log into MyFitnessPal app, you can search for any food. You can in fact scan the food and log the quantity in, or you can search for endless recipes in the database and you can pick one that suits. There is a huge community of users who have uploaded tons and tons of recipes. You can pinch one off depending on your search. It's not very accurate in that regard, but you can always input your own recipes. You can scan in all the ingredients you have used for cooking. Now, that will give you an estimate of how much food you have consumed or you're consuming during the day. The other way is you can just use an Excel spreadsheet. I've created an Excel spreadsheet. I'll leave the link in the description below. You can download that. Essentially, whatever you're consuming, you just jump onto Google search, look up for that particular food item, or you can look up on the labels, add up all the numbers, put them in your Excel spreadsheet so that you can keep track of your calories. Now, if you consume less calories than your total daily energy expenditure, then you're going to lose fat. If you're going to consume more calories, then you're going to build layers of fat. But you don't want to be doing that, right? Okay, I've been making short videos on practical application of this framework. In these short videos, I'm showing you 2 to 3 days worth of my eating and how I manage my carbs based on my activity levels. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Until next time, take care.